People didn't reject me. They didn't push me away. They didn't tell me I wasn't enough. They did something quieter. They simply never chose me. At 82, that distinction finally became clear. For most of my life, I believed being accepted was the same as being wanted. I thought that if people allowed you into their lives, into their homes, their routines, their conversations, that meant you mattered. It took me decades to understand how wrong that assumption was. I'm sitting at my kitchen table now, alone, watching the afternoon light stretch slowly across the floor. There's nothing dramatic about this moment. No tears, no breakdown, just the sound of a refrigerator humming and a clock that ticks too loudly in a room with no voices left. When you get old, silence isn't empty. It's crowded with realization. I've always been easy to include. That was my skill. I was the friend who fit anywhere, the coworker who never caused friction, the partner who adapted, the family member who didn't demand attention. I learned early how to make myself convenient, how to take up just enough space to be tolerated, but never so much that someone would have to choose me over someone else. People liked me. That's what I told myself. But liking is cheap. I was invited, but rarely awaited. Included, but never prioritized. Present, but never essential. No one ever said, "I choose you." They said things like, "You're fine with anything, right?" Or, "You don't mind, do you?" Or, "You're always so understanding." Understanding became my prison. I grew up believing that being agreeable was a virtue. My parents praised me for being easy. Teachers liked me because I didn't challenge them. Friends appreciated that I never made things complicated. I watched how people reacted to those who demanded more, how they were labeled difficult, needy, dramatic, and I quietly decided I would never be that. So I softened myself. I learned to wait instead of ask, to accept instead of choose, to adjust instead of assert. And it worked, at least on the surface. I was never alone in a dramatic way. I always had someone around, a relationship, a group, a place to belong. But belonging is not the same as being chosen. I married someone who liked me. That's the most honest way to put it. We got along. We respected each other. We made sense on paper. There was no great conflict, because there was no great passion either. I don't think she ever chose me. I think she accepted me. We built a life that functioned well. Meals were shared, responsibilities divided, holidays observed. From the outside, it looked like stability. Inside, it felt like neutrality. There's a specific kind of loneliness that exists when you are with someone who would not fight to keep you. It doesn't scream, it settles. At night, lying beside another person, I would sometimes wonder what it felt like to be someone's first thought, someone's deliberate decision, not the safe option, not the reasonable choice, but the one they actively wanted. That curiosity felt dangerous, so I buried it. At work, I was dependable, always available, always fair. I watched others get promoted, not because they were better, but because they were visible, because they made themselves known, because they demanded consideration. I told myself I didn't need that. That recognition was ego. That ambition was insecurity. But the truth was simpler. I didn't believe I would be chosen if I asked. So I stayed where I was. Useful, replaceable, invisible. People trusted me. They relied on me. They came to me when they needed help or balance or calm. But when it came time to make decisions, to elevate someone, to commit deeply, to prioritize, they looked elsewhere. I was always the backup. And because no one ever explicitly rejected me, I had no proof that anything was wrong, just a quiet accumulation of moments where I realized I wasn't the one. Not chosen for the leadership role, not chosen for the deeper conversation, not chosen when things became serious. I was present for the ordinary parts of life, rarely for the meaningful ones. As the years passed, this pattern hardened into identity. I'm just not that kind of person, I told myself. The spotlight isn't for me. I prefer simplicity. But preferences chosen out of fear eventually feel like cages. When my children grew up, I watched them form their own worlds. They loved me, I know that. They respected me. They checked in. But they didn't confide in me. They didn't seek me out when life became complicated. I was safe, but I wasn't essential. Phone calls became shorter, visits less frequent, not because of conflict, but because of absence. I had never taught anyone that I needed to be chosen. I had taught them I would always be there regardless. Retirement stripped away the last illusion. Without work, without obligation, without a role that automatically placed me somewhere, I noticed how rarely I was sought out. Days passed without my name crossing anyone's mind. That's when it hit me. I wasn't lonely because I lacked people. I was lonely because I lacked significance. One afternoon, while organizing old papers, I came across a stack of letters I had never sent. Notes I had written and folded away. Thoughts I had softened until they disappeared. I don't want to be the easy choice anymore. I want to matter to someone. I want to be picked. Reading those words at 82 felt like reading a stranger's confession. I finally allowed myself to see the pattern clearly. I had confused being accepted with being chosen. I had confused harmony with intimacy. I had confused being liked with being loved. No one ever chose me because I never made myself choosable. I had erased the parts of me that could create friction, desire, preference, need. I thought removing those would make me more lovable. All it did was make me optional. Here is the hardest truth I've learned. People don't choose what doesn't define itself. By trying to be agreeable to everyone, I became essential to no one. This realization didn't arrive with anger. It arrived with clarity, a calm, devastating clarity. I don't blame the people in my life. They responded to the version of me I presented, a version that asked for nothing and therefore received nothing specific. I spent so long avoiding the risk of rejection that I guaranteed something worse: insignificance. At 82, there is no dramatic reinvention left, no bold new chapter waiting to be written. But there is honesty, and honesty, even this late, matters. If you're listening to this and something feels uncomfortably familiar, I want you to understand this. Being tolerated is not the same as being chosen. Being liked is not the same as being wanted. And being included is not the same as being valued. If you keep making yourself smaller to fit into other people's lives, don't be surprised when no one builds a life around you. I wish I had understood earlier that being chosen requires visibility, risk, the willingness to be specific, to say, this is who I am and this is what I want. I avoided that my entire life. And at 82, I finally see the cost. So if there's one thing I can leave you with, let it be this. Don't wait for acceptance to turn into selection. Don't confuse silence with peace. And don't spend your life being easy to lose. Because one day you'll look back and realize no one rejected you. They just never chose you. If this story resonated with you, I'd really like to hear from you. Have you ever felt accepted but not chosen? You don't need to explain everything. Even a single honest sentence in the comments is enough. If this video gave you something to think about, please consider leaving a like. It helps this story reach others who may feel the same quiet loneliness. And if you want to hear more reflections like this, stories about life, regret, truth, and the things we realize too late, you're welcome to subscribe. Thank you for staying until the end. And if you can, don't wait too long to choose yourself.